Welcome to the Fantasy Football Fallout running back edition for Week 15 of the NFL and fantasy football season. Everybody's in playoffs right now. If your team is still alive, there's still some waiver wire value out there if you need to stream somebody, if you're desperate. If you're new to the show, basically I run through who is projected to score well, who did score well, how does that relate to the rest of your fantasy football and maybe daily fantasy run. I also give out my awards for the week. This week I only have the Kicked in the Nuts award. Somebody kicked me in the nuts. I know somebody kicked you in the nuts out there. If somebody got you and screwed your playoff journey, please comments. I love seeing those notes. Let's interact and commiserate. But, and before we get rolling, please, everybody, 2 seconds of your time for 2 clicks, a like and a subscribe. That helps us grow. But let's just move it on here to ESPN's projected top 10 for the running back position in order. Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Todd Gurley, Aaron Jones. Good for Gurley sneaking back into the top 10 of those projections. Now, who did score well? The ones in white were the ones that were correct. Austin Ekeler, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon. Good for him finally getting on the board here. Derrick Henry, Raheem Mostert, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley, he should be in white. Christian McCaffrey, DeAndre Washington because Josh Jacobs didn't play, and Devontae Freeman. A couple of notes here. Joe Mixon, he has been doing better as of the last 3 to 4 weeks. I think, at this point we can call it a trend. Andy Dalton playing, they've already done the Ryan Finley thing, so I don't think you have to worry about Andy Dalton basically losing his starting job by the end of the year. Andy Dalton helps everybody on the Bengals to be more relevant in terms of fantasy. Derrick Henry playing well. Raheem Mostert, believe it or not, still out there on a lot of people's waiver wire. Check him out. Todd Gurley finally getting the volume that he should get. Again, that should be a trend going forward. DeAndre Washington, he actually played pretty well fantasy-wise when Josh Jacobs basically couldn't go there for them. That was a big deal and is a big deal for the Oakland Raiders. So all you people out there that have Josh Jacobs and you're worried about him, DeAndre Washington is a nice grab on the waiver wire just to kind of basically handcuff him. And then Devontae Freeman, he's going to be up and down for the rest of the season. Let's get to the Kicked in the Nuts award. Somebody got me right in the balls. I'm sure somebody got you in the balls as well. Now, who got me is Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt drives me nuts. So if you look at Nick Chubb's numbers, and Nick Chubb was projected to score well by, I think, a lot of people out there. He had almost 10 yards of carry again. I don't know what it is about the Cleveland Browns. Kareem Hunt's a very good player. Don't get me wrong, but he's not as good as Nick Chubb. I don't know why teams are just hey, you know what? Let's get the inferior guy on the field. Or hey, what would be good? We're kind of struggling right now. We're the Cleveland Browns. Why don't we not involve Nick Chubb in the passing game? Why don't we not involve our best player as much as we can possibly involve him? And don't talk to me about load management. The guy's in his second year of the league. The Cleveland Browns have been struggling. They've been in enough close games. Drives me crazy. They ended up with the win here, though, so I know the Browns fans will probably hammer me, but Kareem Hunt got me. He kicked me right in the nuts, and then I think he went and he kicked somebody by an elevator, too. So there you go. We call that the Kareem Hunt. When you kick a woman in the head by an elevator, that's called the Kareem Hunt. Let's go to the best waiver wire. There's still some value out there. The best waiver wire acquisitions for running backs. Raheem Mostert still out there. Now, listen, he's not going to be the starter, the clear starter for the rest of the season. Now, he might lead the tailbacks and carries. I still think it's going to be a hot hand kind of thing. We saw Matt Breida have a nice game yesterday as well in limited touches. But the thing with Raheem Mostert is he's still playing on special teams. When was the last time, as I said in another video, when was the last time you saw Christian McCaffrey make a tackle on special teams? It's not a good look for running backs for them to be out there. Now, he's very talented. Maybe next year he won't be. This year, he's just not going to be the bell cow running back this year. That's not to say he doesn't have a lot of value. He's still my, going into Week 15, my top waiver wire play. LaShawn McCoy, I added there's 7 running backs on here. LaShawn McCoy, now only owned in 68.8% of the leagues. The Kansas City Chiefs re-signed Spencer Ware. He couldn't get anything going. Darwin Thompson, he basically fell in the depth chart. Signing Spencer Ware and moving Darwin Thompson down in the carry matches, I think that tells you all you need to know about Darwin Thompson there. LaShawn McCoy needs to be the guy. Damian Williams, I don't know what's going to be up with his injury, if he's going to be back or if he isn't, but I think LaShawn McCoy's probably going to lead that backfield in touches moving forward for the rest of the year, so there you go. Benny Snell could have been a costly fumble. The Steelers still won, so good for them. Still only owned in 34% of the league. I think he's going to get the volume while James Conner continues to be out. Is he going to be back, James Conner, this week? Maybe. I don't know. He was doubtful at the end of last week, then downgraded to out. They need him back, but even when Connor comes back, I think they're still going to give Snell some carries. And frankly, we saw Snell wrestle the job away from Jalen Samuels, that primary backup carrier. Maybe he'll wrestle the job away from James Conner moving forward. And even if Connor comes back, they're going to limit his production anyway, just to guard against an injury for that playoff run. Darius Geis owned in 64% of the leagues. He split time evenly. Smith, I believe, split snaps evenly. It just turned out Adrian Peterson got the more carries, but I still think Darius Geis is the one to own there. The problem is it's Washington. They're still not involving him in the passing game. It's ridiculous, but they're a poorly coached team, and they're not using the guys that they have talent on their team enough. Alexander Mattison, I like. I've talked him up on this segment a long time ago, and I kind of relaxed as we've been getting closer to playoffs. But you saw what happened. Dalvin Cook had the injury. I believe also another shoulder injury at the running back position. And, although Dalvin Cook played, they gave Alexander Mattison a lot of volume. I think that will continue through the end of the season. They want Dalvin Cook right for the playoffs. So I think they're going to give Alexander Mattison more reception opportunities out of the backfield, more runs, more of the tough runs. We saw that yesterday, and I think it's going to be a trend in the last few games of the season here. Bo Scarborough still getting volume in Detroit. I think he's definitely worth owning. And then I mentioned before, DeAndre Washington only owned in 0.9% of the leagues. If you have Josh Jacobs, or if you don't, you just need a running back, and Jacobs is out, he could get you the volume to be relevant for the rest of the fantasy football season. So there you go. That brings me through the full episode. We also do quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, and special teams. So check us out, defense and special teams. So check us out there. Please, once again, like, comment, let me know who got you right in the balls in the playoff season. Let us know. And catch you in another episode soon. Thanks, everyone.